For decades, the words Swiss-made carried an almost mythical weight. They implied unmatched precision, old-world craftsmanship, and a level of engineering that the rest of the world simply couldn't replicate. Buyers didn't just purchase a watch, they bought into a legacy, a story of mountains, neutrality, and centuries of mechanical mastery. But in 2026, that narrative is being tested in a way few people expected. The conversation is no longer about whether China can manufacture inexpensive goods. That debate ended years ago. The real question now is whether China has quietly reached, and in some areas surpassed, the technical capabilities that once defined Swiss industrial dominance. To understand how we got here, we need to rewind to 2015. That year, China launched an ambitious national strategy aimed at transforming itself from the world's assembly line into a global leader in advanced manufacturing. Instead of competing only on labor cost, the goal shifted toward robotics, aerospace components, semiconductor tooling, and ultra-precise CNC machining. Billions were invested into research, automation, and vertical integration. While Swiss brands continued leaning heavily on heritage and branding, Chinese manufacturers were building the machines that shaped the future. Take the example of vertically integrated watchmakers in China. Unlike many Swiss brands that rely on complex supplier networks, some Chinese groups manufacture nearly every component in-house, from movement plates to balance springs to the machines that assemble them. That level of internal control allows rapid iteration and tighter cost management. And here's where the uncomfortable part begins. Complications, the advanced features beyond simple timekeeping, were once considered the ultimate Swiss stronghold. Double tourbillons, split-second chronographs, high-frequency escapements. These mechanisms required extraordinary engineering skill. Today, Chinese firms are producing comparable mechanical complications at a fraction of the price. Not crude approximations, fully functional, technically sound movements that perform the same mechanical tasks. The price difference isn't small. It can be tenfold. This forces an important question. What exactly are buyers paying for? Because when you strip away the branding, marketing, and boutique experience, the raw materials inside a mechanical watch are not rare. Stainless steel, sapphire crystal, brass plates, synthetic rubies. These are industrial materials. The true value lies in design, finishing, assembly, and brand prestige. And that brings us to the controversial topic of the Swiss-made label. Legally, a watch qualifies as Swiss-made if a specific percentage of production cost occurs in Switzerland. But production cost does not necessarily mean component origin. High Swiss labor expenses can outweigh lower-cost imported components in the calculation. In simple terms, it is possible for major structural components to originate outside Switzerland, while the final assembly and testing secure the Swiss label. This isn't illegal, it follows regulation, but it challenges the romantic perception many buyers have about what Swiss-made actually represents. Meanwhile, manufacturing precision itself is no longer exclusive. Modern multi-axis CNC centers operating in Chinese industrial hubs now hit tolerances measured in microns. Robotics firms scale production at speed that traditional European manufacturing models struggle to match. Development cycles that once took 4 years in Europe can move from prototype to market in nearly half that time within Chinese tech ecosystems. The difference isn't necessarily quality, it's velocity. Shenzhen, for example, functions as a hyper-dense innovation cluster. Engineers, suppliers, and production facilities exist within kilometers of each other. Iteration becomes faster. Feedback loops tighten. Product generations evolve rapidly. In contrast, many legacy brands operate on slower development timelines rooted in tradition and controlled release strategies. This shift extends beyond watches. Industrial robotics, medical diagnostics, electric vehicle manufacturing. In each of these sectors, Chinese companies have narrowed or erased gaps that once seemed permanent. Does this mean Swiss watchmaking is finished? Not even close. Swiss brands still dominate in finishing refinement, long-term durability, hand-applied decorative techniques, and brand prestige. The cultural weight of a historic Swiss manufacture still carries emotional and resale power. But the illusion that Switzerland alone defines precision manufacturing no longer holds. Buyers today are more informed. They compare specifications. They analyze movement architecture. They question pricing models. And as technical parity increases, the premium attached to heritage becomes harder to justify purely on engineering grounds. What we are witnessing is not the collapse of Swiss industry. It is the erosion of unquestioned dominance. One model is built on tradition, incremental innovation, and brand mystique. The other is built on scale, speed, and aggressive technological catch-up. Both have strengths, but for the first time in decades, the playing field feels competitive rather than predetermined. So here is the real question. If two watches offered comparable mechanical complexity, similar materials, and equivalent performance, but one carried a $30,000 price tag based on heritage, while the other delivered similar engineering for $3,000. What exactly would you be paying for? Prestige? Craft? Security? Resale confidence? Or simply a story that has worked for generations? Let me know what matters most to you.